why do we have an appointment? I was like, nope, we don't, but now we do. And he said, really? So what can I do for you? I said, because I'm looking for a job out there for me. And I don't take no for an answer, like, no matter how hard it gets. So I always, I'm this person, even the people that work for me or with me today, I say, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing? You get the no. Then move on to the next.
So today I have an incredible personality with me in the house. I'm trying to contain my excitement actually. Today I finally have a sister in the house. This is quite amazing for me actually. It's a plus for me. So today I have an interesting personality with me in the house, the person of Clara Kronborg. It's a pleasure to have you with me, Clara. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm fine. That was really a very good introduction. So thank you. I'll take it all.
So I want you to quickly take us back to a little bit of your history, where you're coming from. How from where you're coming from to the Clara we are all seeing today.
Oh, okay. It's a long story, but I'll make it very brief.
Amazing.
Yes, I'm from Okija, Anambra State, and growing up was not really as glamorous as it seemed as in it seems today on glam. But I've always wanted better. I've always wanted to a better life. I would say I've always wanted to see what's beyond. My curiosity was always active, like it's still active to today. So I struggled my way through studies, and struggled my way through through moving from city to country, and finally by the virtue of love, I found my way in, like say, I found myself in Denmark. But before then, before the Denmark journey, I've already found my purpose being Women's World Show. It was the show. It was journey of passion. It was something of inspiration. I wanted to build that platform where women can come in and share their story and really own it without really having to explain why they have to feel what they feel. So that was the purpose, and it was really a passionate journey. So I took it up. But then, being very young and naive and passionate about all these things, but I knew, oh God, you need some enlightenment. You need to do something better. I know when to tell myself the truth. I know when to call myself to action. So I stopped the show then. That was in 2010. And then I stopped the show then and went back to school. That was how I moved from Nigeria to Ghana to study journalism. And from there, love found me, or rather, I found love, and then we moved. And the journey continued from Denmark, and now I'm in Mabea, and I still continue to pursue what I really believe in. I thought I would escape it all, actually, to be honest, because I thought, oh, okay, maybe that phase of my life is over, but after I had my child, the whole thing started again. I found myself, really itching to really be that voice, really itching to, teach another woman things that I didn't know growing up. So, or rather show them that, girl, you can fish. You don't have to, have me to give you the fish. So, and that's why I relaunched the show again. So today we're still doing it, doing what I believe in. And I love all the steps. So far, it's still good.
Wow, amazing. Like growing up in your states where people don't really want to associate much with you. They don't want to deal with you, tease you with your voice. Thankfully for your mom, who was always there to encourage you, to tell you how beautiful you are, how gorgeous you are, how blessed you are. And the reason why most of us don't actually share our story, because when we think about the ugly part of our story, we find it difficult to overcome that fear of being vulnerable to other people. How were you able to overcome that vulnerability to be able to begin sharing your story to empower people?
I don't think I thought about it like, oh, I'm going to not be, all those words will not get to me. Again, like you have seen some of my, profile. My mom was, or rather, even though she doesn't live anymore, she lives no more. She still is my role model. She always reminded me how, good I am, how beautiful I am. Growing up, my skin, like as dark as I am, boys like you won't look at me, or you will not look at me. You won't look at me as a boys like you won't look at me. They look at the fresh or Igbo Pepe girls, those girls with light skin girls. I'm sorry to say, but I was in that category. And can you hear my voice? It's deep, like it's deep. So I was called frog voice. I was called, the OG is like anybody that is from Igbo or Nigeria will understand. It's like blackie. Those kind of things. It wasn't really something like to say, oh, I'm beautiful. I wasn't really in the category of beauty, but I've always had that aura that commands respect, I think. Because no matter what, you still, when you see me, you think, oh, she know what's up. I was totally naive, but you see me in those days. I just had that thing that once you see me, you see, kind of package, you see kind of, put together. And it was something I give thanks to my mom. So how did I overcome the vulnerability? I don't know. I think I just itched to being myself. I never really thought about it. I'm myself. I follow my instincts. I'm actually long time ago, I learned how to listen from within. If before I put something out there, it feels right or it doesn't. I don't delete things. Like if I post something, I don't delete it because I've said it. Change is one thing that is not permanent. So if tomorrow I change my mind from that and I said yesterday, then I grew past it. So I think that's the way I see it. And somehow my mom lived a modern life without even realizing it because she planted all those things in me. So she kind of taught me to be true to myself, just go for it if you want it. And actually, I don't think anything anybody said to me gets to me. I think I've had it all, so it just didn't get to me. I haven't thought about it honestly. I'm very open, but I take it as it comes. The moment when it feels right to tell a particular story, I tell it. If it doesn't feel right to tell a particular story that happened in my life, I won't do it. But when it feels right, I will open up to that part. And I think he's a phase. I think he's just a phase. So I'm in a phase in my life where at the moment, things that I say feels right. Things I share feels right. And it's true. It's me. I don't want to sugarcoat it. If I don't want to say it the way it is, I'd rather not say it. And it took me a long time to build that discipline of being true to myself. So I didn't fight so much to, not be vulnerable. I won't lie. Actually, there was an interview I did once, and I was talking about rape. I was the one hosting the interview. So I ended up being the one on the hot seat because the person turned the question around, and then I found myself being so vulnerable, just pouring my heart out of my own experience being raped. And I broke down on air. It was one of the toughest moments, I think, being a host for me. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it feels right when it feels right, and I just take it that's what happened.
Wow. Looking back to when it happened to be living there without window, without door, without curtain, without light, electricity, water running or something, You have a very beautiful life in Mambele. Sometimes when I look at the life in Mambele, I think I feel like moving to Mambele. Maybe for most people who don't know where Mambele is, Mambele is a very beautiful place. And when I see you guys in Mambele, I feel a little bit jealous because it's a place I want to live. So let's say, for instance, looking back to those years where you were sleeping in uncompleted building, where you don't have water, you don't have lights, trying to struggle with your education. Did you ever thought life was going to be as beautiful as it is now?
Oh yeah. No, I didn't see exactly how it's gonna be, but I had a dream.
Wow.
I have a dream. I have focus. Oh, I knew where I was heading to. I didn't know exactly how I'm gonna get there, but I knew I had a I have, like, the dream was clear that I don't belong here. The dream was clear that this is not permanent. Hence why I held on and kept juggling, looking for jobs even without certificates. So I think the dream was just clear. It was just clear. I didn't know exactly how I would get there, but I knew I didn't belong that place. Absolutely.
Wow, that's incredibly amazing. Incredibly amazing. Sometimes sometimes when we happen to be dealing with some certain stages of life, maybe it's a content something, we kind of find it difficult to look forward to what the future holds. Because it's the reason why they have to bring that question in, because probably there could be someone who is listening right now that is happening to be dealing with uncertain circumstances, asking God, what is the future, or is this the end of it or something? Because I want somebody to listen to you to know that regardless of where you are or what you are dealing with now, it's not the end of the journey.
Yeah.
Wow. So my next question, I want you to, if you will, to begin all over again. They started from the scratch now. There is no Denmark, there is no Mabel. Where will you start from and what will you start with?
Is it knowing what I know now, or
Yeah, knowing what you know now, being where you are now, let's embrace all these beauties and everything that we have right now. Going back to the mindsets, where will you begin with?
okay? I wouldn't put. In terms of work, in terms of personal life, I wouldn't date some bull. Okay, let me not use some harsh words. Some kind of, I won't be with some, kind of people in terms of work. Where would I begin? Actually, I don't want to change so much, but maybe, just maybe, I would want to be more enlightened about what video making. I will be more. I would have really invested so much in learning before I start. But I started before I learned. Does it make sense? Where I am, I started before I learned. But if I were to reverse, I will learn before I start. But again, if I'm not where I am today, I won't have these stories to tell. And I think that makes me stronger because I felt so many times. I've made so many mistakes. So would I make those mistakes? Maybe a few, but I will just learn before I start. I think be more enlightened. Not that mistakes won't come, but it will be maybe lesser than it was. I think that will be the difference.
Another question I also wanted to ask you is that, there was something I came across when I was listening to your story. You went to the bank to, to approach the bank manager without an appointment, without a prior arrangement. How did you do that? What gave you that confidence?
So today, I still have no idea, actually, because I think that was when I was living in the uncompleted building and I had this, my beautiful silver skirt. I wish I still have it today. I wish I kept it. This beautiful silver skirt is my lucky cloth, and then in white okrika, we bought it from OK in Nigeria, that's second hand. So white shirts, and I wore that. I knew I wanted a job, so I was just looking everywhere, and I was like, "Why not this bank?" And then I walked into the bank, and yeah, I asked, I want to see the manager, the secretary, the receptionist was like, do you have an appointment? But when you look at me, you will not really assume anything because it was quite decent. I was quite decently dressed. So I persisted and she like, okay, da, da, da. And then he said, bring her up. So what gave me the confidence? I think I walked in and the man was like, the same question you are asking now. The man was like, um, why do we have an appointment? I was like, nope, we don't, but now we do. And he said, really? So what can I do for you? I said, because I'm looking for a job. You said you have something to offer me. I said, it's a job I'm looking for. He was like, that's quite, it's quite kind of tricky, but in a confident way. And he was like, okay, so where's the certificate? But then I didn't have certificate to show
Right.
anything. No. I haven't even got to that. I think I've gotten admission, but I've not even paid my school fees to start school. So it doesn't even make sense. Anyway, what gave me the confidence is I was willing to, put myself out there. I was very open, looking for that opportunity, and I was willing to take it when I say it. And I believe I had, again, my discipline started from when I was young. I knew there's something out there for me, and I don't take no for an answer. Like, no matter how hard it gets. So I'm this person. Even the people that work for me or with me today, I say, what's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing? You get the no, then move on to the next, So I always say that, and I've always had it. So what gave me the confidence? Because I want better. I needed that better life, and I was willing to just keep pushing and keep pushing until I get it.
Wow. Wow. That's quite amazing. Today your story, the story of your journey, have actually really inspired so many women. You've been a blessing to a lot of women that you might not have the opportunity to meet in person. Through your TV show, through your foundation, you'll be an incredible blessing. So I want to ask you a question. What really inspired you to begin sharing your story to other people and creating the women watch shows and the funding? What has been your inspiration behind your work, Clara?
It was other people's story, but actually, to be honest, I was working in a field where a lot of women, we had more women as clients than men. So they come in, of course, they weren't talking to me, they were talking to, my boss.
I think it's freezing.
Walking away because of what the society might say or what people might say. Oh, she's divorced, she failed in her marriage. Oh, she's not good a woman enough because she's she doesn't, or maybe she's not good a woman enough because she has a child. So actually, there's this particular lady that she has a child, but her mom has to take care of her child as the mom, and she is auntie to her own child. Until she's became after one, they name her after one. This, as in they name you. Oh, she's an after two girl after one. What does that even mean? Why do I have to put a tag on it? So things like that. I was like, why do we even have to put a tag on this? And why do a woman have to be very, ashamed of, maybe something, a child that she have, and she have to be an auntie to the child. You're in a relationship where you're being brutally, like almost beaten black and blue all the time, but you can't do anything about it because of what people will say. And I needed to create a platform. The idea started coming, like I wanted to make actually a documentary. That's where it started. And I wanted to create something that's where women can just come and talk about their thing. But I had no idea. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it like a talk show. I got some advice here and there. I did some consultation. And due to the way I was talking about the passion, so like talk show is the way to it so that a lot of other women can come and talk about it. So that's where it all started. And then it took its shape. I didn't know. I knew exactly where it's gonna be. Like today, I know exactly where it's gonna be. But I think with time, experience, it keeps the puzzle keeps fitting itself every day. I know exactly what I want in the next 10 years, but again, I still don't know how to get there. So every step I take leads me to the next one, but I know exactly what the long term goal is. But I'm taking it as it comes. So the whole idea is all about other people's story inspired me to want to tell people's story too. So you can't do without storytelling in this world. It's amazing. It's life changing. Absolutely.
Wow. There are most of us who have story. Like I said before, we struggle with being vulnerable in sharing them, and we rather share it to be a blessing or empower other, or we keep the story and remain a victim of the story. I why do you think people should share? Why do you think it's a good idea for people to share their own story?
Oh, inspiration is inspiring, is really elevating, is really motivating, and it just have a way of even unburdening you, telling the story. You feel like, wow, so I've been carrying this all this while to myself. The moment, for me, in my opinion, the moment you share a part of you that you've been really holding on to for a long time, I feel like you are you this big burden gets you feel relief. You unburden that load, and you find a part of you that you've never even knew is there. So it's very important to people have different ways of sharing their story. Don't get me wrong, we all don't have to be this vocal, but we have to make sure we don't swallow it all, we don't keep it all. Hence mental health. Hence why we should have someone, maybe a friend, maybe a mother, a therapist, maybe a doctor or whatever, to just unburden all our stress, all our heart, let it out. We have to tell those stories somehow. See, there are so many ways to tell stories. It can be through the way I'm sitting now talking about beat and beat of me. It can also be someone, writing a book, to inspire other people like Shimamanda, the way she tells stories of, history. Generally, is a story, is storytelling. Without history, we wouldn't know what happened in the old days. You and I would just be existing without knowing how did we come to be, or how did our generation come to be. So, and without storytelling, a lot of women would not know that, wow, it's actually okay to talk that I've been
I think the internet.
out. So the next woman will not know that, okay, am I doing something wrong? Like, for example, the other day, I posted something on my feed on Instagram where I was crying. Because somebody asked me a question, say, do you ever feel like leaving everything and live a normal life? And my response was like, okay, I'm gonna share. It took me a long time to decide to share that post because sometimes when I feel heavy, when things get difficult, I cry and I record myself because I want to remember why it was that difficult, why I was feeling that pain, why I wanted to like, ooh, what can I do? And then that makes me appreciate when I finally move past that difficult moment. So I posted that clip of just a clip of me crying. So I was like, see, if you ever feel like crying, just let it all out. We all do this shape. But if you believe in what you're doing, just go for it. So storytelling, I think for me, when you unburden yourself in this whichever way that you choose, it just empowers the next woman. Empowerment, people think, is when you bring up money and give somebody. No, it's actually telling her, girl, you're not alone. Or guys, see, it's okay. It's okay for you to shed tears. It's okay for you to kneel down and just bend down on your wife's leg or your girlfriend leg and say, oh, thank you so much. Today was hard. I just feel like just being here. It's okay to feel that vulnerability, and it's really okay. So for me, that's what storytelling does. And I think it empowers so much more than we can ever imagine. Somebody's life changes the moment we share a story. Yeah. Yeah.
This is really amazing. This actually reminds me of there is something I had Les Brown said one time. He said that you don't have to share your story because somebody will actually listening to it, but just share your story because it was given to you. When you take this as a reason, then you will share your story. And because I was having a conversation with one lady one time, and she happened to have a kind of tough time in her previous relationship, which is there was a kind of domestic violence in the relationship, while she was her rights was being violated, and so many horrible experience she's been through. And I wanted to have come to realize that if every problem we have in life as an individual, there are millions of people in the world having the same experience.
Exactly.
And how we maneuver those hurdles when we share the story, it become a blueprint for other people who are struggling with the same feelings.
Exactly.
I personally, my own story was at a point it was a big difficult for me to actually share because of the ugliest part of the story. I happened to grow up as a child who was denied by my father. The very first time, the very first moment, according to my grandmom, my mother told my father, I think I have missed my period. That was the day the guys pack. No, how could you miss your period? You have to go and look for it. I was like, right from that very moment, it has been a horrible time period for my mom and for my grandma. My father denied me. He don't want to have anything to do with me. I grew up as a child, like people just want to spite me to have that opportunity, that platform to insult me, to call me bastard, you diesel, you don't have a father, you don't have a mother. And even my mom was even ashamed to associate with a child who don't have a father because she was just a young girl of 17 who just, happened through mistakes or whatever, I don't know. So she dumped me for my grandma because she couldn't handle the shame. Growing up, sharing all these things was a bit difficult for me. But at the point I come to realize there are so many men that are making the same mistake my father made then. You know, Bothering a child just because of the fear of becoming a father at early age in their life. And now the moment I begin sharing my story, I can realize become a liberation to so many people. It begins to give most kids hope who happen to fall victim of the same circumstances that I have been through, that I was in then. Today my father and I we are the best, we are best of friends. So because when I share my stories,
Oh, really?
yeah, because
Wow.
my dad and I, we are best of friends today. So sometimes that when I share my story, it gives hope to most people who happen to find themselves in the same circumstances. It gives them hope. Okay, yeah, that means even though I might not be having a good relationship with my dad now, that means probably something good could still happen in the future. So it still give most women hope that even if the man might not be showing up right now, possibly he might show up in the future for this dude or for this girl, whoever it is. When we share our story, we give hope to people who are also having the same situation that we were then. So, like I said before, every situation we're going through in life as an individual, there are millions of people having the same experience. And how we survive it, how we overcome that, the wisdom God gave to us then, that we use to overcome those circumstances, can actually be a blueprint for other people to actually be able to maneuver those challenges. So it's quite amazing. I so much appreciate your wisdom in this very conversation, Clara. Honestly speaking, I'm so excited and I'm so happy. I think it's actually a great blessing for us to have you on this beautiful conversation this evening. And I also want to ask you, what are some of those tools, personal development tools that you have used that have helped you in your own path, in your own journey, that you think you so much believe that can be still useful to anybody today in their own journey?
Okay, simply putting, curiosity,
Curiosity.
and then consistency. And then you must dream. You better have dream. You gotta be curious. Allow yourself to dream. I think that for me, dreaming, I knew, I felt there's something beyond where this four walls of this room. There's something behind it. I want to see what is that in a good way. And you have to learn to understand what is the good and the bad way. So once you activate your curiosity, then go for it. And going for it also means that you need to learn to be self-aware. And being self-aware means that you need to learn to be self-loved. You need to learn to love yourself, without conditions. You need to learn to appreciate and accept all your flaws. You need to learn to accept criticism. And that's the only way you can also learn, because if you cannot accept and listen to learn from people, then you are just covered in your own knowledge, not knowing there's something beyond where you are. So again, it goes back to curiosity, but self-love is really a great tool for me. I think sometimes my husband really like, can you love yourself any less? Or like, thank you, but I don't have, if I don't love myself enough, you can't fuel all of me, because then I'll be hiding. I'll be like, hiding under my shell. But I give all of me because I really appreciate me, and I know my flaws. I know how deep my voice is, and I accept it. I love it the way it is. And then again, you also have to learn to, for me, I learned to really know when to take a step back. No matter any field you are, we are human beings, and mental health is real. We need to learn to say, oh, it's too much. I need a step back. So taking a step back and retrace your footsteps. It's okay. What's next? Again, self-aware. It all comes with all this package. Then whatever it is that you're going for, persevere. Then be consistent at it. These are the tools. And oh, my major key. I never cease to have all these like journals. I journal. I write down all the time. listening. Some people say, "Oh, I write down in my phone and then it helps." It works. Some people are just tech like that, but me, I'm so old school. Kind of, I'm a 90 girl, so I'm in between the tech, beginning of the tech, and the the end, and the ending of the old school. So we still believe in the old and the new. So I'm in between that, So I live in the new tech, but I still go old school, writing down, pasting everywhere. I have like, the vision board thing. So you need to. It's not always perfect. Again, I know when to take a step back and retrace my footsteps. And that's being self-aware. So these are my tools: self-awareness, self-love, persistence, consistency. I don't take no for an answer and go for it.
I could obviously see that. For you to go to the bank without an appointment, I could actually realize that
Oh,
you
I
were ready for
did
it.
a job, but I made a friend out of it. Yeah, so that's good.
Wow, that's really amazing. Tell me about one book that impacted your life.
Oh, book reading. I won't lie, I'm not really a big, I don't read so much as I want to. I don't know why, but when I was growing up, my brother gave me this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Don't ask me why, but he gave me that book and I've read it like 100 times. And for some reason, it kind of kind of resonate with my upbringing, my childhood, and somehow my head always go back to some of the words there. So yeah, I think it's really out of it. Of course, I've read Chimamanda's book. We all should be feminists, and then I've read. I read some entrepreneur books, just to enlighten myself. So I'm not really a big reader, but as much as I would like to, but those are books I can really recall if you wake me up. Reach that, for that.
I mean, it's a great book. I've read it too. It's an incredible book.
Mm.
I think it's a recommendation for everybody, everyone who
Yes,
wants
I
to.
was really young when my brother gave it to me. So,
It's a great book. So now, Clara, it's a pleasure having you on this platform. Tell me, Clara, what will you want to be remembered for after you have done your time on Earth?
well, I'm not planning to live yet. I have a 4 years
Yeah.
old child, but the journey is far from beginning. But well, the legacy, or rather, what I'm building on, I hope, and what I'm really building on is to maybe someday travel somewhere in Africa, and someone would tap me on the shoulder and tell me, "Clara, do you remember what you did the so time? You did so time, and that changed my life." I really want to inspire a lot of women. I really want to really prove that women can truly support each other, can really be, work together, can really be great friends. Um, so my legacy is building. I'm not talking about legacy because I'm still here. So what I'm building on is that I want really to build an empire, a media empire that really focus so much in supporting women across Europe and Africa, but shining so much light on African women. I want to meet a lot of African women here in other side that are doing amazing things. Men and women, I'm open for that. So that's really the empire I'm focusing on at the moment. But long run, I want to travel everywhere and see amazing women, really remembering, oh, how you did that, and you did A and you did B for me. So, yeah.
Wow, that's really incredible. Perhaps we could actually have a great speech to partner together because we're actually planning a kind of a crusade across Europe where we can be able to do some empowerment, some education across our youths and girls as well, to being able to transcend from some certain lifestyle to a more better
Your personal mind.
yeah, so probably we could I could get in touch with you for this as well, but when I see your how you are into women, I was so inspired, how much love and
I'm
passion.
sorry. I didn't.
You didn't get me very well.
I didn't get anything you said.
Okay, I think it was
No,
it's the
I
connection.
lost you.
Yeah. So I mean, when I noticed how much passion you have into women, how
Again.
I was really so inspired. At a point I like, okay, why is she just after women? Then I remember there was a time there was a time I remember the same question same question I asked myself. I remember one teacher asked me in one primary school in Lagos. I remember there was a time I was having a kind of hunch to empower some kids in primary school, and I went to one primary. I think it's something like New Koba in Agege. I went to the primary school and I told the women, the head teacher there, that I need kids from primary three. I want to empower them. The women that went and brought out all the kids from primary three, and the head teacher was kind of like, why just primary three? Why not primary two, primary one, and the rest of like why? I told her I just want primary three, and the reason why I really wanted primary three was my life was so sweet from primary one until primary three.
I get you.
My mom was in primary one. My mom supplies all my needs. Primary two, she supplies all my needs, but primary three, she died. So when she died, I was like, I lost everything. That was when life became a hard puzzle for me. So as I begin to establish myself, when I remember the pain that I went through in the primary three, I just want to go back to the primary three and see how much I have been able to pour into people in the primary three. And when they brought, the beautiful thing was like when they brought those primary three kids out, I could see my picture. Yeah, I could see my big butt knicker with a hole on the back, and with oversized. So when I saw your passion for women, I was thinking, why is she into women? But the moment I remember the question that woman asked me, I was okay, no, I know why. Probably because of how your experience and some of the things you encounter along your journey could what really motivate you. Like just like you said before, that you really want to create a platform where women can actually have that opportunity to have their voice being amplified, have that free space to share their story, to empower other women as well. I really appreciate you, Clara.
Thank
I
you.
really, really appreciate you, and I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to meet you in person. And I hope we should be able to have a continuing good relationship with each other. It's a pleasure to have you this beautiful evening, and I appreciate your time and your wisdom and the knowledge. And I hope somebody should be able to get a tons of value from this our conversation today. And also, my last question would be from anyone who want to reach out to you, probably for any reasons, probably by sharing their story with you or needing your voice to amplify their own voice for encouragement, for however it is, where can they find you?
Thank you for that. Thank you once again for having me. I'm really humbled. And you can reach us at womenswatchshow.com or clarakronborg.com, or you can reach out to our production company that is CCK Ventures. Okay, cckventures.eu, cckventures.eu, and you can write us email at info@womenswatchshow.com. It's also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Women's Watch Show. We are on YouTube, Women's Watch Show TV. Wow, a lot of amazing women have shared their stories with us, and I, for one, I think I watch my show all the time because I get really goosebumps. I get inspired all the time. So you should check it out. It's on YouTube.
Wow. Thank you so much, Clara, for your time. And thank you so much everyone for joining us. And I want to thank you for hanging on to this last
Okay,
minutes.
again.
And
Thank you.
I really, really do appreciate, and I hope we all should be able to get a tons of value from Clara's wisdom. And I look forward to come across your way again on my next episode. Stay blessed and God bless you and have beautiful morning or beautiful evening wherever you are. And I will say good night from here. Thank you so much, Clara.